Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. Wherever you're listening from, whether you're at home, on a walk, commuting to work, or just taking a quiet moment for yourself, I want you to know that this episode is for you. Especially if you've ever felt stuck, nervous, or frustrated when speaking English. Today, we're talking about something that almost every English learner struggles with at some point, but very few people talk about honestly. The topic of today's episode is talk English without thinking. Now, before you misunderstand me, I'm not saying you should turn off your brain completely or speak without meaning. That's not the goal. What I'm talking about is learning how to stop overthinking every single word when you speak English. If you've ever frozen in the middle of a sentence because you weren't sure about your grammar, if you've ever had a simple idea in your head but spent so long translating it that the moment passed, if you've ever stayed silent because you were afraid of making a mistake, then trust me, you're not alone. And more importantly, there is nothing wrong with you. In this episode, I want to help you understand why this happens, how it holds you back, and most importantly, how you can break free from it so you can speak English more fluently, more confidently, and more naturally. I'll share real experiences, explain what's actually happening in your brain, and give you practical tools you can start using today. No complicated theory, no unrealistic advice, just real usable strategies. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's dive in. Let me start by being honest. Even people who speak English well, even people who live in English speaking environments, still experience moments where their mind goes blank. I remember situations where I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but my brain just wouldn't let it come out smoothly. I'd replay the sentence again and again in my head. Should I say, "Can you explain?" Or "Could you explain?" Is this the right tense? Is this word too informal? And before I said anything, the moment was gone. That feeling, that mental freeze, is incredibly common. And it doesn't mean you're bad at English, it means your brain is overloaded. Here's what's really happening. When you speak your native language, you don't think about grammar, you don't analyze sentence structure, you don't translate, you just speak. But when you speak English, your brain often tries to do too many things at the same time. You're translating from your native language, you're checking grammar rules, you're worrying about pronunciation, you're thinking about your accent. You're afraid of being judged. That's a lot. It's like trying to juggle while solving math problems and running at the same time. Eventually, something breaks, and usually it's your confidence. This overload creates what I like to call a mind block. A mind block happens when fear and pressure interrupt the natural flow of speech. Your brain goes into perfection mode, and in perfection mode, nothing feels good enough. You start questioning even simple sentences. Is this correct? What if I sound stupid? What if they don't understand me? And then silence. But here's something very important I want you to understand. Silence becomes a habit. If your brain learns that speaking leads to stress, embarrassment, or fear, it starts to believe that staying quiet is safer. But that belief is a lie. Because the truth is, native speakers make mistakes all the time. They pause, they say and they start a sentence and change it halfway. They use the wrong word. and nobody cares. Conversation is not an exam, it's a flow. And when you treat speaking like a test, you block that flow completely. So, if you've ever felt that brain freeze while speaking English, I want you to hear this clearly. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's not laziness. It's not because you're bad at languages. It's a learned mental pattern, and it can be unlearned. Now, let's talk about what talking without thinking really means, because this phrase can sound scary at first. I'm not saying you should speak carelessly. I'm not saying grammar doesn't matter at all. What I'm saying is this: you need to stop micromanaging your speech. Think about driving a car. When you first learned, you were thinking about everything: the pedals, the mirrors, the steering wheel. But now, you just drive. Speaking English works the same way. Fluency is not about thinking faster. Fluency is about trusting what you already know. And here's something most learners don't realize: your brain already knows more English than you think. The problem isn't knowledge, the problem is trust. Kids don't wait until they're perfect to speak. They just try, they make mistakes, they keep going. Adults, on the other hand, wait until they feel ready. But readiness comes after speaking, not before. Let me say that again because it matters. You don't become fluent and then speak. You speak, and that's how you become fluent. When you stop overthinking, something amazing happens. Your rhythm improves, your tone sounds more natural, your confidence increases, and suddenly people connect with you, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. And connection is the real goal of language. Now, let's talk about some of the biggest mental traps that keep people stuck. The first trap is translating in your head. You think in your native language first, then try to translate word by word into English. But languages don't work like that. The structure is different, the rhythm is different, the expressions are different. So you get stuck halfway. Your brain goes, wait, what's the English for this? And boom, conversation over. The second trap is grammar obsession. You're having a casual conversation, but your brain suddenly turns it into a grammar exam. You're ordering coffee and worrying about verb tenses. Let me be clear: no one at the cafe cares about your grammar. They just want to understand you. The third trap is fear of judgment. This one is powerful. What if they laugh at my accent? What if I sound stupid? So you speak quietly, or slowly, or not at all. But confidence matters more than correctness. A confident, imperfect sentence is always better than perfect silence. So, how do we break free? Let's talk solutions. First, the mindset shift: progress over perfection. You don't need perfect English to communicate, you need clarity and courage. Fluency is built through use, not waiting. Speak now, speak messy, speak often. Now, let's get practical. One powerful habit is thinking in English. When you're alone, describe what you're doing. I'm making tea. I'm checking my phone. I'm getting ready to go out. You don't even need to speak out loud. Just keep your brain in English mode. Another technique is shadowing. Listen to a native speaker on YouTube, a podcast, or a movie. Pause after a sentence. Repeat it immediately. Same speed, same tone. No time to overthink. Another great exercise is the 1 minute freestyle. Set a timer for 1 minute. Pick a topic. Speak nonstop. No editing, no stopping, just flow. Record yourself if you can. It feels uncomfortable at first, but it helps you get used to your own voice, and you'll hear your progress over time. Use filler phrases to stay in motion. Let me think. What I mean is, well, it's kind of like native speakers use these all the time. And one final rule: don't stop mid sentence to look up a word. If you forget a word, explain it. That's real fluency. Now I want you to practice right now. Pick a topic, your morning routine. Speak for 1 minute. No translating, no stopping, no judging, just go. If it feels awkward, that's good. That means you're growing. Do this once a day. 1 minute, one topic, that's all it takes. If you've made it this far, be proud of yourself. You showed up, you listened, you practiced. And remember this: speaking English without overthinking isn't about being fearless, it's about being brave despite the fear. Every time you speak, you're rewiring your brain. You're building a more confident version of yourself. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need fancy words. You just need to speak and trust yourself. English is not just a skill, it's a bridge to connection, growth, and new experiences. So keep going, keep practicing, and most of all, keep believing in yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode helped you, follow or subscribe to the podcast, share it with someone who's learning English, and challenge yourself to speak one sentence today without overthinking. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and talk boldly.